Oke, jangan lupa presensi di MOS ya, dicek juga mata kuliah lainnya, tidak hanya untuk film study saja. Ya, pokoknya tiap hari itu sediakan waktu 1-2 jam, 1-2 jam, 1-2 menit presensi. Wow, ini sudah ada yang share screen, Patrick ya. Oke, bagus. Saya tidak harus menyuruh-nyuruh untuk yang presentasi pertama. Silahkan dimulai dari kelompoknya Patrick. Oke, bisa di-unmute Patrick untuk memulai.
Bentar Miss, belum ada yang belum masuk. Oki belum sama Zain
Oh,
belum.
grupnya.
Anggota kelompok 1 belum ada yang belum masuk Miss. Sebentar ya Miss, saya kontak.
Yang sudah mana nih? Itulah sebabnya. Oh, enggak, yang dari dulu deh. Kalau misalnya kurang satu anggota nggak apa-apa diwakilkan, tapi sampai 2-3 berapa ini? Patrick apa siapa
Masih
ini?
kurang 2 Miss, yang lain.
Lengkap, tidak lengkap, kalau hanya kurang satu, segera share screen. Ada? Tolong yang namanya saya sebut, minimal ada yang jawab, sebentar Miss, ada Miss, tunggu Miss, gitu loh. Jadi saya nggak nunggu lama gitu. Kevin, Asyar, Astri, Wahyu, Deva. Halo. Are you even listening?
Halo, ada apa?
Uh,
Halo.
bukan kamu Yok.
Kevin, Asyar, Astri, Oktaviani, gimana nih kelompoknya? Kevin Morris.
Saya lihat tidak ada di sini.
Nggak ada ya? Oke, tolong Patrick catat. Oke, yang ada nih. Siapa nih tadi? Ada kelompok Sandro sama siapa?
Sama
Sama
saya.
Patrick juga. Norisma, Diaul, Deas Adam. Ini kayaknya lengkap nih. Ya, boleh. Share screen yuk. Said, Murodah. Nah, ini agak lengkap orangnya nih. Kalau kurang satu, nggak apa-apa, ditinggal. Yang share screen siapa, Norisma?
Ya, Miss, saya share screen.
Oke. Right, kita mulai dari kelompok 4. Judulnya ada Enola Holmes. Genrenya misteri. Minggu depan kelompok 4 akan membahas film di South Korea. Yuk, yang lain dipersiapkan ya, filenya dibuka. Bagi yang megang file, nanti ketika PowerPoint sudah dibuka, langsung begitu saya bilang next, panggil nama, langsung share screen. Gitu ya teman-teman, kita itu waktunya hanya 80 menitan soalnya. Dan ada 7. Thank you, silahkan. I will mute myself.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Narisma and we from group 4. We will explain about Enola Holmes. And our group is with Said Muhammad Ibrahim Adam Anggawi, Dewa Sanina, Muroda Siti Ekabia, Des Adam Yasin Prasetya, and me, myself, Narisma. Wait, Miss, kayaknya nggak bisa di next, Miss.
Bagaimana?
Wait, Miss, ini share-nya nanti akan digantikan oleh dia Usaini.
Ya. Ada satu orang cadangan ya yang punya filenya juga. Jadi kalau misalnya satu teman bermasalah, teman lain bisa langsung ambil alih untuk share screen. Gitu. Saling inisiatif lah.
Oke, we'll next. Oke, dia silahkan di next slide-nya. The first slide will be explained by Dewa Sanina.
Oke, jadi in Enola Holmes tayang perdananya tanggal 23 September tahun 2020 di Netflix, direct by Harry Bradbeer, genrenya mystery. Jadi di sini ada Enola Holmes, Sherlock Holmes, Mycroft Holmes, ada Eudora Holmes, Lois Tewksbury, Lestoret, dan Edith. Untuk summary-nya, in England, 18 April, a world on the brink of change. On the morning of her 16th birthday, Enola Holmes woke to find that her mother has disappeared, leaving behind a sort of gift, but not a pretty clue as to where she's gone or why. After a free-spirited childhood, Enola suddenly finds herself under the care of her brother Sherlock and Mycroft, but set on sending her away to a finishing school for proper young lady. Refusing to follow their wishes and escape to search for her mother in London. But when her journey finds her entangled in a mystery surrounding a young runaway, Enola becomes a super sleuth in her own right, outwitting her famous brother as she unravels a conspiracy that's threatens to set back the course of history. Okay, next.
All right. This slide, this theme, gonna talk about the theme of Enola Holmes. The theme we found in Enola Holmes is feminism and coming of age. The reason is because as a child, she taught by her mother to be independent, and she been taught by her mother to chess, self-defense, like scientific experiment, anything like the boys in that century, but women not allowed to do that in that century. Now, for the coming of age, at the start of the movie, she started as a naive teenager. Then, at her 16th birthday, her mother is suddenly gone without a trace. Then, a days later, her brother Mycroft and Sherlock is coming back to home, but Mycroft want to send Enola to like a special school for women to educate it, but Enola refused it, so she ran away and disguised as a boy. Later, when she arrived to London, she need to find her mother, but she refused to wear her dress, and then realized she willing to sacrifice to find her mother. And there, as story progress, she learned to willing to get caught by Lestrade to help Tisbury escape, and willing to pass her search for her mother to help others. And then in the end of the movie, she find her purpose to help other people needs. Next.
Okay, the main conflict in Enola's home film is when Enola mothers are missing and left some mission or hint for Enola to find her. And another conflict is how Enola escaped from her brother, especially her brother, Mycroft Holmes, who's want to control her. And another conflict again is when Enola meet Tagasby in train and save him from assassin, and is make Tisbury follow Enola to the London. At first, they are separate, but Enola tried to find Tisbury again to help Tisbury solve his case.
Okay, next is Enola from genre. First is Enola genre is my story, and cause our mystery when her mother held a secret meeting with her alliance in her house. In this, her mother suddenly gone without a trace, but left a box with a flower card and a riddle. Ini. Next is investigation. The night before, she sent into the academy by Mycroft and will find a clue that her mother left to her. Enola searching her mother motivated the secret meeting and her house full of explosive. Next is revealing the answer of the cases, sending a hidden message to her mother using it in newspaper, find a clue using number to convert it to word in newspaper. Ini kodenya yang bakal dipecahkan menggunakan angka yang dijadikan huruf. When Enola come back to her lodgings, Enola have unexpected wealth. Pas dia memecahkan kode, ternyata dia tidak menemukan apa-apa dan akhirnya dia pulang ke penginapannya dan dia mendapatkan tamu yang tidak terduga. Next.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. And different from other film, in a contract to the film, his brother Sherlock Holmes, Enola Holmes, met more pleasant and human as a teenager. In general, the nature of the Enola sloppy success make the audience carried away into the film. The puzzle and challenge are also made more fun, but Also, there are elements of suspense in the movie. Starring Millie Bobby Brown, her role as Enola here will unraveling more humanist than this brother, really as a perfect as it was the acting of the players. Charming make the film, which lasts approximately 2 hours, does not seem boring. This movie has a lot of a moral message, especially about the way of life that we have two choices in our life. Want to come with the path chosen, or we choose his own path. This movie also teach the women are able to be independent, self-confidence, and mature in making decisions is one of the message that hit the mark in this movie. Next.
The comment from reviews about the film Enola Holmes is, I actually partway through this movie and I'm loving it. I love the characters and the costume, so I would wonder how historically accurate they are. It's nice to have a movie that isn't dropping the F-bomb and other foul language. I do have to admit talking to the audience was a little annoying and not that helping if you get no meaning. And the second comment is boring. I think the name Holmes was left on there to give it marketing value. This movie has none of the sharp intellect or exciting plots that the name Holmes typically promises. Is it fine? Yes, but I'd recommend that you find something else to do. The third comment, movie justifies violence. If you want to change the word, spoilers ahead, but the one I'm going to give is actually important for parents to hear. The majority of this movie is a fun reimagining of the Sherlock's tales through the eyes of his younger sister, as you likely know. There are many positive messages for young people of all sexual identities, but ultimately there is an extremely dangerous message parents should be careful about, particularly with the ongoing debate around appropriate means of protest. The understory of the movie is that Anela is searching for her mother who vanished. By the end of the movie, we discover her mother vanished to further her work with another girl, making bombs and preparing for acts of unrest and civil disobedience with the justification. If you want to change the word, you have to make some noise. There is little interpretation to be made other than that her mother intended to use the bomb and that it was only okay to use them to further her political belief. But heroic, strange choice to make in this time, and it was not something I was expecting. Of course, if we have different views on violence to make in this time, to further political, and it may not cause problem, or if like me you do not talking about important topics such as this and highlighting where you disagree with themes and topics, then you may choose to watch it with your kids. Interested in fact on the movie, charming and becoming of the set in the late 19th century. I enjoy this movie very much, and here's why. Starting off with the character, Bobby Brown as Stella is really fun to watch and play along with. She's empowered, spunky, and quirky, bravely searching for her mother. She does make dangerous decisions, but it's an entertaining truth not to miss. Satisbury was also a fun character to watch, acting as Anna's sidekick and love interest. Sherlock and Mycroft were mainly side characters in this movie, but it was nice watching them try to protect their son from danger. Enola has a strong relationship with her mother who raised her a single mom growing up. While the storyline wasn't super thrilling, the plot twist and fast pace of the film will hook viewers of any age, especially children who enjoy colorful movies with strong message. The movie sets are also really charming, with beautiful countryside scenery and is in town and city. The cheerful, upbeat tone of the music and character of Enola is contrast to the setting of the film, but makes it all the more gripping to watch unfold. If you're looking for a sweet, or funny, or entertaining mystery to pass the time with, Enola Holmes is the right choice. And the next comment is exciting, yet that life and parenting message. Enola is a strong, capable, and likable character. However, nearly all the other characters are trivially role models. Her mother leads her to change the world, good, but becomes a terrorist. Really bad. Anna's uncle is criticized for seeking to educate her and educate a traditional life with a potential for the marriage. The marriage is weak and in need of rescuing. I love the puzzle solving, action, and dislike the criticism of traditional values in this movie. Yeah.
Oke, Miss. Ini ada Q&A sessionnya kak, Miss?
Nggak ada. There is no, yeah, there is
enggak ada.
only feedback from me. Okay, thank you for group 4 for your presentation. But yeah, feedback is that when you take a direct quote, please put the reference under the direct quote. Yeah, if the reference all is put in the back like this, usually what you do is to summarize, summarize the comment given by the articles or the other people who comment on the movie. So you just don't read that way, ya. Kalaupun membaca, you read the summary, ya. You need to summarize all the commentary. You take some of the good point, yeah, because if you just reading directly through the article like that, you will learn less than if you do summarize it. So that's my feedback. But yeah, itu aja. So hopefully it can be a lesson for your next presentation and also lesson for the other group. Ya, apalagi tadi tulisannya sampai penuh-penuh begitu, ya. So it's better to summarize it, and then you can put the reference at behind. But if you fully quote it like that, you must add directly under the quoted. Itu aja. Thank you. I hope your friend learned something about the movie, about the character, and then about the conflict as well. Let's go to yoga. Vincentius, Mingli, Edi, dan Aditya Rizky. Are you all here?
Yes, Miss.
Nice, Miss.
Okay, thank you. Please just share your screen and start.
Alright, everyone. This is from our group. Let's just skip the introduction and let's start our presentation. Next. This is our member. Next.
Adventure, mistake, adventure. Mau diceritakan apa di next ini?
It will explain by Mr. Ferrer.
Check. Okay. Next. This is the character in the film. The first one is Newt Scamander, Jacob Kowalski, Potpentina Goldstein, Queen Goldstein, Marilo Birbon, Credence Birbon, Verifica Gref, Serpi Hana, Piqueri, and the last one is Narla. Okay, next. This is the from this film. When traveling around the world to study about magical creatures, Newt Scamander arrived in New York. Unfortunately, incident occurred after Newt met with Jacob Kowalski. The situation, the suitcase that both carrying around accidentally swept result the creatures that inside Newt's suitcase to run away, forcing Newt to take responsibility to catch them all. Next. In the middle of this task, to recapture the magic creators, an obscures appearance in the city and killed one person. This incident made Newt become murder suspect. The author and people from Magic Ministry accusing Newt magical creatures for killing person in New York City. Likely, Newt and Tina Goldenstein managed to possibility escape that sentence that was given by Mr. Graves.
After the escape, Newt and his friends start to investigating the murder incident. And then suddenly, Credence, an errand boy that being used by Mr. Graves, turned out to be an obscurus, and he is the one that killed the human before. Mr. Graves tried to subdue him because he planned to use Credence's power for his own benefit, but because Newt and Tina, Graves failed to convince Credence to become his ally. Next. The magic words are almost exposed, and this forcing the magic ministry to kill Credence because he is the reason they are almost getting exposed. After killing Credence, Newt revealed the true identity of the mastermind behind all of this. It turns out that Mr. Graves is Gerard Grindelwald. He is the most wanted criminal in this series, and all of this incident is happening because Grindelwald planned to subdue the Obscurus. Next. The theme of this film is the fear of things we don't understand, and also how people react to that fear by taking extremes. He says in the press note, this theme was chosen because the wizards are hiding in the New York City, and there is absolutely no interaction between them and the muggles, the humans, which is in Newt hometown is allowed to some degree, and it was in the UK. Also, at the beginning of the 2016 election, we've seen the movie's waves of hate crimes spreading throughout the country, and rather than coming together, many people are lashing out in fear of the others. There is also fear that coming from the terrorism that Grindelwald did, and people forced to take extreme measure in this movie is showed in the skin where the Auror coming to kill Credence because their whereabouts are almost exposed to the nomads, humans.
As for the conflict, as we have established, it stems between Newt and Mr. Graves, or as we now know as Gellert Grindelwald. But it is only made clear of that main conflict in the most later parts of the film. In the first parts of the film, it seems like the main conflict stems from the fact that the beast has been released by an accident. As such, Newt must take responsibility and collect those beasts back into his domain, that is his dimensional something corpse, case. Yes. It is only in the probably mid parts of the movie that it is revealed that something else is at play. Revealed by when Credence meets with Mr. Graves, and it seems that Mr. Graves has something to do with the fact and obscures this being is trashing around the city. And so it is later revealed that of the main conflict, in the climax, the main conflict turns out to be between Newt and his team against Mr. Graves. Yes, you think that's it. Thank you.
What aspect belong to such genre? This film is belong to adventure and fantasy. Because this film is related to wizard and magic creature and the journey of the main character to save the magic creatures that almost extinct. Next. The difference of the film. The difference of the film with the other film in the same genre. First is this film is the spin-off from Harry Potter film. And second is the magic creature, and third is the concept of obscures or domain. Thor in the Harry Potter film, the Obcus in this film is like a god of death with a black form inside a human body.
So this is the opinion of the reviewers according to the Rotten Tomatoes. The first one is Fantastic Beasts is a charm, excellent when it's allowed to be its own creature and falling short only when it's forced to pay its franchise dues. The second one, from the effect to the music to the performance to the battle scenes, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is worthy following up to the Harry Potter juggernaut. And then with its message that magic is all around us if we know where to look, the movie is handsome, entertaining, and ultimately squall-worthy piece of work. Okay, the last one is Rowling knows how to pay attention in the comedy and inject the film with a playful sense of humor. That's it.
Is this all? Is this the ending of your presentation?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, just give a clue if it is ending. Siapa tahu ada lagi ya. Cuman that's it. Okay, thank you. By the way, thank you for yeah. This is what I like to see from you, opinion from the reviewers, only short and summarized and somehow. But one thing that you forget here is that to put the reference. Can you just later before you submit it nanti dikasih reference di paling belakang ya ditambahin. So yeah, I like the way you put the picture and then the proportion between the screenshot and the writing is done well. Thank you very much. Next, I want who? Siapa tadi? Kayaknya grup Patrick nih yang pertama tadi. Are your member already
Yes, Miss.
here? Yes, please share the screen.
Oke, good
Selamat.
morning. Bro.
Kamu Jeki.
Good morning, everybody. About a movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Quentin Tarantino.
Mundur bentar, Pak. Ya. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood ditulis dan disutradarai oleh Quentin Tarantino dan diperankan oleh Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, dan Margot Robbie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood menceritakan tentang bagaimana karakter Leonardo DiCaprio, yaitu Rick Dalton, memerankan sebagai aktor senior Hollywood yang mengalami pasang surut dalam karirnya dan stand double-nya yaitu Cliff Booth yang diperankan oleh Brad Pitt. Ya, lanjut.
The theme of this movie is according to www.fox.com, the core idea of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood revolves around a fairy tale, one that unwinds one of the darkest, most horrifying things ever to have happened in Los Angeles by porting it into the world of the movies, where the good guys can save the day. The movie even makes this explicit when it contrived a reason for Rick to still have the flamethrower he used on an old movie he made, and then also contrive a reason for him to use it to kill one of the the kill of the one of the Manson family cultists.
Okay, I will explain the aspect of the genre. The aspect of comedy can be found in this movie, such as many scenes can somewhat can make viewers laugh, such as the moment when Dalton cries when he tells the story of book he read. Instead, instead tell his story, but he tells his own story, and the arrogance of Bruce Lee that end up being beaten by Dalton stuntman. So when the one of the scenes of this movie there when the bricks are mm, making film, he met a child, and this child asked Dalton what kind of story of book he read, but he read the story and it mixed up with his story, so he's crying because of his fading career. Next slide.
Okay, the differences with other films. What make it different than other movie is that the plot is not only driven by one character but three, which have been mentioned before. So it's very rare to see that a movie follow the story of three of its characters. Usually, it's just one, the main sort of like hero in the movie. And the movie itself contained many references of Hollywood in 19th century, yeah, 19th to 20th century. This is something that what I found really interesting and unique to the film because it contains a lot of reference, including Tarantino's own universe, such as the his self-created brand for his movies universe, and other like what makes the uh, cinephile and movie geeks really like the feeling of cliche, and that's what Tarantino puts in the movie. So there are a lot of movie reference in the film, such as Space Odyssey, Tora Tora Tora, Eddie Gunn Can Play, and so much more. There are like 10 or 20s of the other movies reference. Okay.
Selanjutnya adalah reviews. Review ini dikutip dari Rotten Tomatoes. Yang pertama itu review dari Film Weeks. I love this movie when the director Quentin Tarantino pulls the ripcord and it goes bananas. It is just so much fun. Yang kedua itu it is Tarantino's best, bravest, and most confrontationally impudent movie since Pulp Fiction. Yang ketiga it is essentially a goofy, good-natured hangout comedy dari BBC.com. Film ini seperti yin dan yang, ada positif dan negatifnya. Negatifnya adalah banyak orang yang kecewa karena penggambaran, contohnya dari Mediaversity Reviews, banyak yang kecewa karena penggambaran Bruce Lee yang tampak konyol dan budaya-budaya Meksiko yang digambarkan seperti humor-humor slapstick gitu. Ya itu aja. Lanjut, Pat.
I think that's all for our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much for Patrick, Zain, Sandro, Muhammad Ramadhani, dan Oki Pramudia. It's very nice to see your presentation. You also give very quite complete sources. That's very important thing because this case of presentation is just to collecting information. Okay, you summarize it well enough. Just keep it this way or make it better in the next presentation. So we are going to move to the next I1. Tadi sudah cowok-cowok, I1 yang cewek-cewek nih. Ya, Arika, ya?
Yes, kelompok 7.
Ya, Arika, Sherina, Shelby, Yulinda, Sheila. Okay, go on. Yes.
Test. Unmute. Test.
Sudah terlihat ya semuanya?
Tes.
Sudah.
Is it my voice heard?
Oke.
Apakah suara saya terdengar?
Oke, lanjut.
Okay, all right. So good afternoon, everyone. So today we're going to present you our material for film studies, and our group consists of 5 young beautiful ladies. And just move on to the next slide. Arika. All right. So we're going to discuss about Get Out movie, and it was published in 2017, written and directed by this person, Jordan Deely, I believe to pronounce it. And this genre is psychological thriller. Next. We introduce our key character in this movie. This is Chris, the black guy with his girlfriend, Rose Armitage, and Rose's parents, mom and dad. And there is also the below both picture. There's Georgina, the maid, and Walter is a sweeper or gardener, labor worker, I believe. And next slide. So this is the summary of the film. So okay, move back. All right. So this is the summary of our Get Out movie. So Chris, the black guy, went to I'm sorry. Chris, the black guy, went to his girlfriend's parents' house because he wants to marry her, and his self is pretty well because her parents welcoming him very, very heartwarming, and yeah, that was a sweet scene in the first beginning of the movie. And back down to the reality, actually their hidden story hide well behind the Armitage house. So Georgina, the maid, and Walter, the black guy, both Georgina and Walter is the black guy, keep giving a clue about it, And yet, Chris just shrug it off because he just think both black guy worker in Armitage House just how to say it, jealous about him because he got a very beautiful white girl as his girlfriend. And next slide, Arika, please.
Next is the theme. Okay. Here we can conclude from the film. The theme is about the white people do racism and brainwashing toward the black people in order to dominate them. I'm sorry. It is shown from the settings and the characters, and also the how the main characters face the the white people towards the racism itself. Next.
Okay, main conflict on Get Out movie. Yeah. Okay, in this movie, there are two types of conflict, internal and external conflict. The internal conflict is about character versus self or man versus himself. In this movie, the main character, Chris, experiences an inner conflict with himself. He is unable to forgive himself over past action. He feels that he is the reason why his mother died. So when he was a kid, his mother had an accident on her way home. At home, Chris just stared at and watching the TV and kept waiting for his mother. He tried to convince himself that his mother would come. But yeah, unfortunately, his mother never came home. Then he blamed himself. If only he had the courage to call the police or someone to help, maybe his mother can survive. And then we move to the external conflict, man versus society. The character of this film is a black man. As we all know, the long history of slavery in America makes this country very sensitive about race or racial issue. Racism is still happening until today. In this film, Chris experiences racial paranoia. He is afraid that his girlfriend's family will not accept him well because he is a black man. And the fact that the Armitage family openly kidnapped and did bad things or brainwashing only against black people. Okay, next slide.
Next is the aspects that make Get Out belong to such genre. The first aspect that makes Get Out belong to psychological thriller genre is the theme itself, which shows white people would take advantage of black people by brainwashing them. From the movie, we can find some scenes where Rose's mother, named Missy Armitage, used hypnosis in order to take over the black people's body. This practice was done by using a teacup and a spoon. So she would cling the spoon to the cup, and as we can see in the image in this slide, the victim will immediately sink into the sunken place. After doing that, Rosie's father, named Dan Armitage, would transplant the white people's brains into the black people's body. Second is the tension that is created by the atmosphere in the movie. As we know, many thriller movies use dim lighting and background music that creates tension. The atmosphere in Get Out movie was also created by the use of dim lighting and thrilling background music. All of those things create terrifying atmosphere, which make the audiences feel scared and also anxious. For example, we can see the image in this slide where the lighting was dim, and it makes people who watch it feel scared. The other example is this background music that I got from the scene in the movie. This thrilling background music can also give people goosebumps when they watch thriller movie. Next.
Okay, what makes it different from the other film in same genre is racism against African Americans or blacks is displayed quite clearly in this film. Get Out is a scathing criticism of racial assumptions and stereotypes hidden in horror. This film is presenting exactly how to look at racism through black people's glasses. Okay, next.
What makes it so special, despite from the obvious flaws, is its prime location and at the intersection of horror and race. Joe Stern, Wall Street Journal, and other is a memorable horror flick if ever there was one. Get Out starts with a great title and a promising idea. A black man's fear as he walks at night down a street in an affluent wine suburb. Then it delivers on a promise with explosive brilliance. Jordan Peele's debut features screw scrupul I'm sorry scrupulously honors the genre's conventions. It's creepy, funny, and scary. Truly scary. Other um, other reviews is from David Edelstein that said this is Peele's their directorial debut, but it feels like the work of someone who has been making features for years. He uses the widescreen like John Carpenter in Halloween to lull but they center you. His boo moments make you jump and then laugh at yourself for jumping, then steel yourself to jump again. His surrealist sequences are gorgeously relical. Okay, next is okay.
All right, so that's all our presentations, and here's what we use as our reference. Basically, all of the things material in this PowerPoint, all discussed by us. So not many using reference here. So there are just 2 reference. So I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for combining your own opinion and important information that you can still get from the outside sources. Very nice. Let's go to tadi yang awalnya belum kedengaran suaranya ini tadi. Kevin, Asher, Astri, Wahyu, Novianti. Actually, this is the second call for your group because the first time I called you hadn't been here. So are you all here now, Kevin? Kevin Morris? Hello?
Miss, ada yang belum masuk, Miss.
How many?
2 orang, Miss. Soalnya PPT-nya sama mereka.
How come? Sudah di Japri?
Sudah, Miss.
Okay, we'll wait again. Okay,
Okay,
next we go to Muhammad Ramadhani, Kevin yang lainnya, alias Kevin Renaldi, Sandi, Asar, dan Lutfi Askia, silahkan. Halo.
Ya, Miss. Sebentar lagi, Miss. Saya siapin.
Ya, silahkan dibuka dan dimulai.
Tes. Tadi nggak kedengaran, Miss ya?
Ya, yang sebelumnya nggak ada suaranya, mungkin lupa
Oh,
nih.
iya. Oh, sorry.
Okay, let me restart. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. My name is Muhammad Ramadhani. Me and my friend from the second group, which comprises of Muhammad Lutfi, Kevin Renaldi, Ashar, and Kurnia Sandi, we will show and present you a different kind of a war film, war movie. And before that, we must know what Hacksaw Ridge is first. So, Lutfi.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dani. So, Hacksaw Ridge is a 2016 war movie that is directed by Mel Gibson and written by Andrew Knight and Robert Sanken. The movie is about the heroic tale of Desmond Doss, a medic serving in 77 U.S. Infantry Division, saving people and doing his duty without firing a single shot in the Pacific Theater, and receiving the Medal of Honor in the end for his belief and duty at the front line. And Hacksaw Ridge received 6 Oscar nominations, winning the Best Film Editing and Sound Mixing, received a Golden Globe and 12 AACTA awards. The movie budget was about $40 million and garnered to 180.5 million in box office sale. Okay, next.
And if you doesn't know what Hacksaw Ridge is, this is some trailer of it. The shot.
What the hell is your delay, Captain?
We're waiting, sir.
Waiting for what?
Private Doss.
Who the hell is Private Doss?
Dreamed about being a doctor, but didn't get much school. I can't stay here while all them go fight for me.
But you figure this war is
Okay,
going to fit in
that's
with
like
your
the
ideas?
main thing.
While everybody else is taking
Next
life,
up,
I'm gonna be saving it.
Kevin Renaldi.
Hacksaw Ridge is a biographical war movie of Desmond Doss, a private serving in the 77 Infantry Division who was sent to the Pacific to fought off the Japanese in the World War II. Therefore, it was a true is a war movie and biographical one, but the difference of this one is that Hacksaw Ridge promotes an anti-war sentiments view from Desmond Doss. The movie showed Desmond Doss, who was conscripted himself to the army as a medic. However, he disobeyed his superior to fire a weapon, as he was a medic and his job is to save people and not took them.
And just like what Kevin said, the difference on the genre is that in most US film, especially the World War II film, we saw a glorified American heroism with, for example, in Midway, the 5-second miracle and the planted of US flag in Mount Surobachi in the movie Flags of Our Father. Those two glorify what US had done. Meanwhile, Hacksaw Ridge, although it presents and glorifies Desmond Doss, it gives the surrounding feeling, the film of a grim side in the World War II. Because Desmond himself was a pacifist and a medic. He is there to save lives and without firing a single weapon. Yes, it showcased the US military power and heroism, but those never fire a single shot. So it was like a generic person, but he was a hero because of his duty. And in contrast to any of those films, while everything glorify how US is powerful, Desmond Doss trying to show how I can save people without being glorified. Therefore, it promotes an anti-war sentiment. And to show what I mean, Imagine you're DOS. You're in this situation. You are chased by the Japanese. You get into their hall. You saw a dead man body. You see how war had affected both sides of the faction. They knew you were there. You are in the Hornets' nest. You get inside, you take cover, you get chased by them. And you saw a Japanese soldier who was wounded. In any American film, we would see the main character or the protagonist would kill him or do anything so that the enemy doesn't know you were there. Desmond Doss, however, shows a different kind of a treatment. Again, he was a medic. And in this clip in itself, he took out the bandages, healed the Japanese soldier. It is a different kind of subtlety in glorifying how hero should be. And then, next.
So, it was a biographical film. Does it have to stay true to its source? Again and again, Desmond does. However, the director, Mel Gibson, had forced to slightly alter some of the scene due to Desmond Doss himself was a lucky person, and he felt that the audience would not find the scene believable. Doss had saved 75 soldiers in the Hacksaw Ridge movie, and like in the scene, he keeps saying, "Please, Lord, help me get one more." And there is still his service in Okinawa. Prior to this, he had done the same thing and earned 2 Bronze Star Medal and a Silver Star Medal for his action. So, and if we stick to the truth, the differences are when Doss is placed on a stretcher. In real life, take his place on the stretcher. After treating the soldier, a sniper shot and then fractured Doss' arm. And he crawled 30 yards, or we can say 270 meters, to safety after being left alone for 5 hours.
And this is another showcase of how pacifism and his belief towards the God. This is his famous word where he tries to save his comrade, doing this in the middle of the night. Keep praying, please Lord, help me get one more. Because that's what he believed. And Lord, in the end, help him, saving a 75 soldier. And we can see how much effort did he put till his hand bleed. And moving on to what Hacksaw Ridge themes are. Asar?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramadhani. So Hacksaw Ridge is a film of pacifists who was sent into a war. Therefore, it had an anti-war theme. It focuses on Desmond Doss, a Seventh-day Adventist, a Protestant denomination in U.S. that adhere to an nonviolent, Sabbath-keeping and vegetarian lifestyle. The movie promotes those religious beliefs of nonviolence, which in it itself was pacifist theme in a war movie, thus turning it to an anti-war sentiment movie. Although it cooperates with the American heroism, it had to be scaled down due to those lucky experiences in World War II would be an easy prey of criticism to a general movie audience.
Next. Sandy? Sandy? Okay. Belief and duty. This is the main conflict that eroded from the very first of the film. Those, like from the previous slide, is a non-violence believer. Therefore, he enlisted himself, but he refused to use a weapon. In army, that would be a burden to your army and the platoon. This would ended him to be court-martial.
It isn't right that other men should fight and die, that I would just be sitting at home safe. I need to serve. I got the energy and the passion to serve as a medic. Right in the middle with the other guys, no less danger, just while everybody else is taking life, I'm gonna be saving it.
So, like Desmond say, so for him, we shouldn't killing each other, and he said he still have the power to serve as a medic, and while everybody else is taking a life, and he'll gonna be saving it, and that was the conflict. Desmond refused to use weapon in the army.
And although he win the court-martial, the tension was still there. His platoon did not believe him because he was awake in their squadron. But this would be man. From the previous slide, when we see he's saving his comrade in the night. And after that, one of his leader platoon starts to say that the platoon and regiment believe in him. And this is the two quotes picture, which Lutfi will explain why, the general.
Yeah, as you can see, there are two influential and phenomenal quotes in Hexaurus movie. So the first one, as you guys can see, please Lord, help me get one more essay by Das. It represents Das' belief to the God as he trying to save his comrade or his fellow army one by one. He kept. As the result, Lord grant him or strength to save a lot of his fellow soldier, and even he also saved a Japanese soldier too. And the second one, most of these men don't believe the same way you do, but they believe so much in how much you believe. That was said by Captain Jack Glover when he realized that he was wrong and mistaken about Das. He even have a talk that Das were a lunatic. And based from that quote, he realized once again that Das is truly something. In that, within his belief, which makes Das save him and also the rest of the regiment. Next.
And lastly, I want to talk about Hacksaw Ridge because not only it is a different kind of movie, but it also has its drawback. One of its drawback is that the film was stuck in the development limbo. In other words, it was a development hell. It took quite long time for the movie to become what it is now. It faces many challenges. It had constant changing directors before Mel Gibson takes in. One of them was Audie Murphy, a veteran like Desmond Doss, tries to do so but fail. And then the licensing, which bought by Walden Media. And it was until Mel Gibson was approached by them that he would take the film. And even with the shoestring budget, he manages to deliver a film. Albeit due to Desmondo's color, Mel Gibson have to alter some of the movie aspect. And that is the drawbacks on the movie. And moving on to the review and reception. Hello? Hello.
Hello.
Kevin.
Back.
Kevin Asar.
From the Dita Kosno, the film Hacksaw Ridge tells the story of World War II American soldier Desmond Tidas, who served during the Battle of Okinawa. He refused to kill people and became the first person in American history to receive a Medal of Honor without firing a shot.
Yes, and from Robert Erbers, Hacksaw Ridge about a pacifist who won the Medal of Honor without firing a shot is a mess. It makes hash of its plainly stated moral code by revealing in the same bloodlust and condemns. But it's also one of the few original action movies released in the last decade, and one of the only studio releases this year that could sincerely be described as a religious picture. Of course, it's directed by Mel Gibson, who rose to international stardom in R-rated action flicks and went on to become the true heir to Sam Peckinpah, directing a series of outstandingly violent films with course of spiritually brave hearts. The Passion of the Christ and Apocalypse. True to form, Hacksaw Ridge draws equally on Gibson's bottomless thirst for mayhem and his sincerely held religious belief, or some of them anyway. It's a movie at war with itself.
And this is the references that we use. And because it was a biographical movie, we try to showcase the differences with the real life one. Therefore, we have to use one outside reference from the movie. And that is all I can say about our presentation. We apologize if there's any mistakes. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. I'm so sorry that my laptop was crash. Langsung blue screen.
It's fine, Miss.
Yeah. So the other group cannot do it to cannot do the presentation today, so they will go next week. So that ya tinggal 2 menit lagi juga udah habis waktunya, karena tadi I appreciate that you have show some videos, but remember that you are limited in time, jadi jangan terlalu panjang kalau mau kasih video atau cuplikannya ya, but still I appreciate it to get more understanding for the situation ya. Source sudah, komentarnya juga lengkap. Tadi ada satu yang plus di tempat kalian adalah ada important quotes from the movie. It's very important because it's related to the whole theme and also the character, and also the maybe somehow provide your friends about the inner conflict or what other people commentary about the main character from that important quote. Thank you very much for giving the extra, but please don't extra time. Itu aja, tinggal 2 menit. Please let me leave the room and we will meet again with the next presentation session next week. Improve your presentation, improve the information, improve the design, the picture, and so on. I want to see you in a better one. Thank you, izin leave. Sampai jumpa teman-teman semuanya. Selamat istirahat, selamat siang, selamat ibadah. Bye.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Iya, kenapa?
Adakah